Oh hey there. Welcome back to Face the Case. I'm your host, JT Blackface, and today we will see what's behind the Keystone XL pipeline fiasco. Let's start with some questions and see if we can find the answers. What does the Keystone XL pipeline do? It's an expansion of the company's existing Keystone pipeline system, which has been operating since 2010. And is already sending Canadian tar sands crude from Alberta to various processing hubs in the middle of the United States. It would dramatically increase capacity to process the 168 billion barrels of crude oil locked up under Canada's boreal forest. Who benefits from its construction? In the short term, many construction and engineering workers on both sides of the border have enjoyed employment during the project. In the long term, pipeline maintenance crews, Canadian tar sand mines, and American processing plants were ready to see more financial growth, at the same time reducing the reliance on overseas imports. Why doesn't Canada refine its own oil? The refineries we do have are located on the east coast, and are not designed to process the thick tar sand crude. They are designed to process imported sweet crude from Saudi Arabia. Also, there are no pipelines from west to east, so the reliance on a diminishing railway infrastructure would have to take place, which inherently comes with its major safety issues. Despite boasting one of the highest proven oil reserves in the world, second only to Saudi Arabia at 175 billion barrels, a high percentage of Canadian crude is shipped across the border for refining in the United States. The cost of a new refinery is pegged at $10 billion, and would take years to construct. A new one hasn't been built in Canada since 1984. Who stands to gain from a pipeline cancellation? Well, the most obvious winner from a deal like this is OPEC, but why would our federal government and Joe Biden be down for this? Well, for Justin Trudeau it helps him line his friends' pockets with money. The Irving family is the fourth richest in Canada, and has only gotten richer through political cronyism of recent years. Whether it's pipelines or Navy admirals, nothing stands in Irving's way. Trudeau and the boys tried to prosecute a Navy admiral due to his decision to switch contracts from Irving shipbuilders to Davis. Admiral Mark Norman was acquitted after news of the situation hit the mainstream media. What's curious is Justin Trudeau's disappointment with Joe Biden's cancellation of the project. Trudeau's government has been funding anti-pipeline protesters through the Soros-backed Tides Foundation for years.
Let me break it down for you. There are two groups, they call themselves Sweatin. One is the First Nation that has an agreement with the federal crown and makes them treaty status. Their legal name is Wet'suwet'en First Nation. They have a couple dozen members and they elect a chief and council. Totally legit. The other Wet'suwet'en that the CBC used as the de facto authority of the area is an actual company, as they claim, made up of self-proclaimed, quote, progressive Wet'suwet'en working as one for the betterment of all. It's just a group of people saying that they have some spiritual relationship to the land, the trees, the rivers. Now, what we found out about OWS is going to blow your mind. The story isn't just about how the CBC insidiously propped up a fake First Nation. The story is that this eco-radical front group is funded by Tides, an organization knee-deep in the anti-oil sands campaign. That's right, this patchwork of random activists who are just blockading a major pipeline are up to their eyeballs in eco-radical money. We went through all of their financial statements, and buried around the end of each of those documents for the last several years is Tides.
Rebel News uncovered that in 2018, Tides Canada Initiative Society was granted nearly $3 million from the Ministry of Innovation, Science and Economic Development to deliver a, quote, building instructional capacity for digital literacy teaching in the Northwest Territories initiative to, quote, develop digital literacy resources and provide courses customized to the unique needs of Indigenous peoples in rural and remote communities in the Northwest Territories. That's directly from the contract document.
Unfortunately, it isn't just Trudeau manipulating Tides to enrich his friends at Irving. It's more like the other way around. Tides is the puppet of the globalist agenda which has infected every party in every nation around the world. The Great Reset is a topic I will revisit in the future. For now, let's focus on pipelines. Donald Trump and his America First policy resulted in a change from oil imports, using the military overseas for oil conquest and occupations, to energy independence and surplus through fracking. Keystone XL was another way for Trump to keep things American by allowing American refineries to monopolize tar and refinement. Now that Trump is out of office, it's time to go back to business as usual. Saudi Arabian imports and more petrodollar shenanigans. But what are petrodollars, you ask? Petrodollars are US dollars paid to an oil exporting country for the sale of the commodity. Put simply, the petrodollar system is an exchange of oil for US dollars between countries that buy oil and those that produce it. Which means if you want to buy oil for your nation, you better have some US currency laying around. Some nations have attempted to sell their oil for different forms of currency, but that usually ends in invasion and puppet dictators under the pretense of freedom or liberation. Puppet nations and the American guard dog aren't about to give up the payday. It's starting to look like Canada, a non-puppet nation, is piggybacking off American globalist policy. In an attempt to not rock the boat, we have cast our national ambitions aside and remain hostages to our own resources. So it appears the Keystone Pipeline was a way for America to get a leg up on OPEC, and now with its cancellation by globalist Joe Biden, things are back on track for the Great Reset. My name is JT Blackface and thank you for watching Face the Case.